Hello everyone and welcome back to another Thomas Wooden Railway layout video. Today I'm not going to be able to build a new layout for quite some time after this video, and so that is why I wanted to film this video, make a layout and use some pieces off of my display case that I have not used yet or in a very long time. So I did want to get this video done before I'm not really able to make another one of these for quite some time. So without further ado, let's get started with this layout tour. So I guess I will wait to show you the entire layout until the end, and we'll just go section by section here. So here is the sawmill and dumping depot area of the layout. I'm very glad I got this destination on this layout in my restricted space in my train room. The only two destinations that are not on this layout are my double wide Old Iron Bridge, the red one, and then Gordon's Hill or the Mountain Tunnel. Just space restrictions. I have plenty of track, just not enough space in this room to include every single item. And so here is the sawmill and dumping depot, as I just said. A very nice destination, very cool. OG Thomas Wooden Railway. And then we have the original windmill. And then we have my Sir Handel from 1997, chilling on the viaduct. So here we have the entire shot here. This viaduct just loops around to where James is at the T-switch. It's my first time using a T-switch on a viaduct, as a matter of fact. I kind of had to use this because the way this layout was set up was that an engine would kind of get trapped in a loop and they couldn't go to the other side of the layout or, in the opposite direction through all the stations. So this T-switch is huge for the engines navigating the layout and getting to each station on each track. So the layout is very fluent, I can promise you that. And then we have two roadway vehicles. We do have the 92 original Terrence and then Trevor helping out at the sawmill. And then we have a tree. And then James is on the T-switch with my Sodor fuel and tar tankers. Elizabeth is just below. And then we'll go over here to where Duncan is, and Duncan has the sawmill car with the sawmill log. Duncan's helping out today. And then we have my 94 round roof duck. He is chilling at the bottom of the depot. He has Henry's forest log car with Henry's logs. And then we have a workman. So I really like how this area turned out. A nice long viaduct, plenty of room for the engines to have long trains and go across it. And then we have a V-switch here. This track just loops around to a switch, another switch, and here we are at Knapford Station, the big station. And before I get any further into this video, let me know in the comment section down below, how many times does Thomas appear on this layout? Let me know that number down below in the comment section. So here we have Gordon with his Knapford Express coach. And then we have his brother, the Flying Scotsman, one of my favorite items ever released by Mattel. It's a very good model. I think it looks fantastic. I love his wink. It's great. And then we have Spencer, Surprise Face Spencer. Every single variant and special edition engine was brought out for this layout, this last hurrah of a layout. And so here we have Spencer probably having a race with Gordon, and Gordon got off to a much better start, so now he is surprised. Spencer has his Duke and Duchess's coach. Very nice piece. And then here's the Talking Railway Series Knapford Station. Here we have a station master off to the side. Yeah, one of my favorite pieces, honestly, in my entire collection. The Talking Railway Series is such a good line. I really would like to collect more of it in the future, but we'll just see. At some point, you have too many destinations and you kind of have to just, I don't know. I guess I could just buy everything, but I don't know. Maybe one day I'll just go on another spending spree of Thomas and Friends merchandise on eBay. But then we have Caroline the car. And then we have our 60th anniversary edition Thomas. He has Annie and Clarabelle behind Knapford Station. And what was also key for this layout to have engines be able to go through all the stations in every single direction was for the engines going this way to be able to get onto this platform on this switch track on this side of Knapford Station so that they can go through Tidmouth Station and Wellsworth Station. So very nice. I got all these tracks connected here with the use of that switch track. So there is Knapford Station from an up top view. And then, like I said, we have the Sawmill and Dumping Depot over here. So I guess we'll go to, you know what? Let's go to Tidmouth Sheds. Just got to back up here. So here we are at Tidmouth Sheds, the sheds area, off to the side of the Sawmill and Dumping Depot viaduct. Here we have the Knapford Covered Bridge, which, in my opinion, I think it is much better than the Tidmouth Covered Bridge. I still love the Tidmouth Covered Bridge. I no longer have it in my collection. I did sell it. I did sell a lot of my Thomas Wooden Railway collection, as a matter of fact. And I know you may be saying, well, you still have a massive collection with so much Thomas and Friends merchandise. And I didn't even use that brand new set, the 22-piece starter set. I never used Splatter and Dodge. You can see my Talking Railway engines. Just a lot of items that I never really used on this layout. But, I mean, I still have a massive collection. I just did sell a lot of it online over the past 6 months or so. So there are some items that are just not here anymore. And then we have Harold on top of Tidmouth Sheds. But yeah, as I was saying, very good bridge. I love it. I love the three, I guess, holes in there, I guess. Windows-ish, whatever you want to call it, holes in the bridge. You can see the engines pass on through it. Very cool. So like I said, this is Tidmouth Sheds. We have the brown turntable with two sidings off to the side. Then we have a siding in the middle. And then we have the main sheds where we have, that is Douglas, my later version of Douglas. Here we have a driver and or fireman. And then we have Murdoch and Arthur. And then we have Harvey. I'll give you guys a better view when I go around. But we have some Season 7 engines, Season 6 engine. And then we have Donald, my 96 Donald, on the turntable. The Spiteful Brake Van is here as well. And then we have my 96 Thomas, one of my favorite engines in my collection. And then we have Sir Topham Hatt and Lady Hat, who I got brand new off eBay a very long time ago, over a year ago. But I think this is this the first time I'm using Lady Hat in a video? It might be. If I have, I used her probably in just another layout video. But here are Lady Hat and Fat Hat on the brown turntable, making sure the engines are not slacking off. So then we have a tree off to the side, another driver and or fireman right there. So let me just go around and give you guys a better view of the sheds. There we are, much better, nice and clear. Those are all the engines in the sheds. And then we have off in my special engine shed, the only one left in my collection, we have my 98 Oliver. And then we have my 92 Daisy. And a siding off to the side. And then we have Butch at the sheds here as well. So this is the sheds area on this layout. I do like that to get to the sheds, you do have to go underneath the viaduct of the Knapford Covered Bridge. So I guess we'll go this way now. And here is Duke. Duke is sitting on a switch here. And here we have Knapford Yard. I did want to make Knapford Yard for once on my layouts. I never do because, to be honest, I'm not a big fan of trying to be ultra realistic when it comes to Thomas Wooden Railway layouts. I think that's really boring and kind of just lame. That's not what really Thomas Wooden Railway is about. You know, for example, I have the narrow gauge engines with the standard gauge engines because that's just what Thomas Wooden Railway is. It's not ultra serious and ultra realistic because it doesn't need to be. It doesn't have to be. And so Duke is on the switch here. Here we have Knapford Yard. And then we have my White Roof Rusty in a siding, a couple switches, and then we have my original Toad, whose roof I repainted and looks brand new condition now. Looks fantastic. And then at Knapford Station, we have Percy and the mail coach and some passengers. I think I forgot to say that. But yeah, here's a better view of Knapford. And then at the yard, we have George the Steamroller, just probably not really doing anything. And then we have a tree off to the side, and then we have a train that looks very vintage and classic. We have my Tired Out Expression Thomas from 1998 that came with Thomas and Bertie's Great Race set, or the Great Race Story set. We love story sets. And then he has a Tidmouth Milk Tanker, and then he has my gray Troublesome Truck. And then he's got my 1992 Troublesome Brake Van, the original one. So yeah, very vintage, classic looking train. Thomas in the yard here, working hard, getting tired out. And then quickly behind Knapford, we have Bill leaving the harbor, about to enter Knapford. This is the Knapford Harbor. We'll get to it. But he's got my 2 Sodor China Clay cars that are in brand new condition that I did take out of the box for this video. So there's Bill with the China Clay cars leaving Knapford Harbor. So now we'll back up here and we'll come to Tidmouth Station, which is an item from the 60th anniversary set that I did get brand new in the box, and I reviewed and opened on my channel. So if you want to go and check that video out, it is in my other Thomas and Friends reviews playlist on my channel. And so here we have the 10 Years in America Thomas that you saw in the thumbnail. This Thomas is truly gorgeous. It's the 2001 Thomas model, which is the Thomas model I did have growing up. I believe I had a 2000 Thomas and a 2002 Thomas, 2003. I had a couple 2000s Thomases growing up, but here is the 2001 version. He's got the exclusive face to this 10 Years in America pack. And then we have the 10 Years in America coach. And my only gripe with this coach is I think they should have made the roof another color than blue. It does look nice as a pack, but it's kind of goofy having this coach have a blue roof with any other engine other than Thomas pulling it. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I think I'm overreacting to this coach, but very nice coach nonetheless. But yeah, Tidmouth Station. I do like Tidmouth Station so much better than Ellsbridge Station. I got really sick of Ellsbridge Station in my collection. I sold that mainly because the pieces just, like the roof pieces, they move so easily. You can't really, I guess you could glue them, and so they never move, but I think that kind of just defeats the purpose. Like this has a magnet on the roof, and then these 2 pieces are glued together. The only separate piece is this green roof that goes in front. That is the only separate piece, so it's very sturdy. It comes apart a lot. Doesn't come apart as easy as Ellsbridge did, so that's why I sold Ellsbridge. I just got sick of that. I think that station model really could have been improved as the years went on, just kind of glued together basically by learning curve, and so not having to be separate pieces. Anyways, and then here is the 60th anniversary gold piece of 8-inch straight track that came with the anniversary set. A nice gem to have in my collection. 60 years celebrating Thomas and Friends. So there's Tidmouth Station. We do have our station spread out on this layout, which is very nice. Then we have 2 trees off to the side. And then we have Toby pulling Henrietta. And then we have Wellsworth Crossing. And at Wellsworth Crossing, we have a railroad crossing sign. And then we have Sir Topham Hatt crossing. And then we have Bulgy waiting for Fat Hat to get the hell out of the way. And then here's the backside of Thomas's train. So here is Knapford Yard, Tidmouth Station, the entire area. And then we have the Stop and Go station that came with the 60th anniversary set. Kind of just a signal box here for these 2 switches and for the station, of course. And then we come to Peter Sam with Ada, Jane, and Mabel. And believe it or not, Peter Sam is very fond of Ada, Jane, and Mabel. And Ada, Jane, and Mabel are very fond of Peter Sam. And an engine that I knocked over a tree, or that fell over earlier. But an engine that Ada, Jane, and Mabel do not like is Sir Handel, because Sir Handel kind of sees them as trucks and not truly coaches. So here's Peter Sam as a better view of his face. Ada, Jane, and Mabel, very nice coaches. They are plastic, but they are Railway Series characters. It gives Peter Sam and Sir Handel some more lore, bringing them into Thomas Wooden Railway. So I think it's a fantastic addition to the line. And then we come to Wellsworth Station, where we have Wellsworth Sheds. And here we have Edward, who is tired out. Another exclusive engine on this layout. And then in the sheds with him is Stepney. Again, this shed is not by Thomas Wooden Railway, but my girl did give me it for my birthday, so I'm, of course, going to use it. So kind of nice, including sheds at Wellsworth Station for the engines to rest at, especially Edward, who spends probably most of his time there. And then we have Wellsworth Station itself, and here we have Bertie the bus. And then in a siding, we have the Winter Wonderland Snow Covered Thomas, made by Mattel in 2012, 2013. Again, probably one of their best models ever made in Thomas Wooden Railway that Mattel has ever made, period, ever since they took over. This Thomas and the Flying Scotsman. Truly great models. I really do enjoy them. I love that Thomas. That blue snowplow is gorgeous. Anyways, here we have the infamous, gorgeous, powerful looking 2003 Henry. What an absolute shed. So 2003 Henry is looking gorgeous at Wellsworth Station, living rent-free in everybody's heads. Anyways, he's got the express coaches. He's taking the express today, or just some coaches, entering Wellsworth Station. And then we have the single stone tunnel over there. And now it is time to wrap up this tour at Knapford Harbor, at the big harbor, just outside of both stations. So like I said, here's the single stone tunnel. There's Henry with the express. And so here we have the grist mill just outside of the harbor. And like I said, there's Bulgy. And so at the harbor, we have Mattel Cranky the Crane. This is another Mattel item I have in my collection. I kind of do like this cranky face, but I just have never bothered to really search for a learning curve cranky on eBay. There are so many out there in brand new condition, mint condition. I just have never had the biggest problem with this Mattel cranky. It's pretty good. I mean, I really don't like this hook. I really don't like that. But it's not so bad to where I have to sell it and then buy a learning curve one. But believe me, I would much rather have the learning curve version in my collection. The one I had as a kid was the deluxe Cranky the Crane, the one with the lights and sounds. I did have that one. But that one I think that one broke when I was younger. But anyways, I obviously don't have that one anymore. So here we have the original Gray Roof Boko. He's at the harbor here with Mavis, and Boko's got 2 cargo cars. Cranky's about to finish loading his train. Mavis has got Scruffy, probably heading back to the quarry soon. And here we have Diesel, who has had an accident. Diesel has slipped into the ocean, cab first. And then we have the Soda Bay tugboat off to the side. So here's the entrance to the harbor, or exit, depending on what direction you're going in. So here's a better view of Diesel, who has slipped into the ocean. And then we have the Sodor Cargo Crane helping out Cranky. I love this harbor because, we do have a siding for the ocean, but it's a nice long stretch of straight track through 2 different cranes and through the Good Shed, the work shed, a very good piece made by Thomas Wooden Railway. So again, here's the cargo crane. And then we have Ben just having a rest or waiting for Boko to get out of the way. And then, like I said, we have Bill on the other side with these Sodertronic clay cars. So there's the work shed. That is the Knapford Harbor. And so that wraps up this layout tour. I will show you guys the entire layout in one shot there. That's a pretty good shot of the entire layout. Like I said, Wellsworth Station area that I can't get in the shot. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this layout video. Like I knocked over that tree. But I tried to use a lot of the pieces that I've not used previously and items in previous videos. So hopefully you enjoyed seeing all those items in today's video. But I will not be able to make a layout like this for quite some time. So hopefully you enjoyed this one. I definitely did. Building layouts as you get older it's pretty tough, man. You're bending down constantly and in these close quarters, little space to work with. I'm pretty tired. My knees are chalked. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.